All right, everybody. Again, this week we have an amazing, amazing, amazing guest on the How to Be a Dangerous Woman podcast. And she is indeed a dangerous woman. She is, first of all, beautiful. So if you're not like looking at the video, you need to go look at the video because she has on an amazing outfit. That's a cape too, right? Is that a cape? Yeah.
Yes, it is a cape.
I mean, it doesn't get more dangerous than that. She has a cape, my friends.
Everybody watch out.
Watch out. She's got a cape. But Charmaine is a weight loss coach for female entrepreneurs. And I'm so excited for us to have this discussion today to talk about not only what she does, but how coaching has impacted her, how it impacts her clients. And we're going to get into talking a little bit about diet culture. And I know Charmaine has a lot of opinions about that. So we're going to talk about it because I don't know a woman alive who does not at one point in her life, like look at her body in the mirror and have thoughts about it, either one way or the other. So we're going to talk about that. But I wanted to start off by asking you, how in the world did you become a coach? Where did this come from?
Oh my goodness. So that's a story, but basically to put it short, I was a registered nurse at UCLA for 8 years, was never ever thought I'd be a coach, didn't know what a life coach was when I started nursing, never even thought to be an entrepreneur. Like I grew up in this household where basically the expectations are, you know, you can only make money from being a nurse or a doctor or an engineer. That was like my life path. So I went on my life path. And then as I was a nurse for a few years, I don't know, even though I was making money, which is why I really resonate with your podcast. It's kind of like your ladies where it's like, even though they have the job, even though they have all the checks, the check boxes ticked off, it's like, I still felt like I wasn't quite fulfilled. And I also felt like I was making an impact in the world that wasn't what I wanted to contribute. Like I was helping people with psychiatric issues who, which is cool. I didn't realize you're a pharmacist before, but I was helping patients with psychiatric issues with medications, and they just kept coming back, and it just wasn't fulfilling. Like I wanted to help with a preventive issue, like help mental health at the root. So that's why I wanted to leave. And eventually with my own personal struggles, I learned about life coaching. I just Googled one day self-doubt because I had so much self-doubt in myself. And then I found a podcast and I listened to it. Then I was like, this is what I've been looking for all my life, not being a psychiatric nurse, but a life coach. And that's how I stumbled upon this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's so fascinating because you know, I had a similar journey, but I'm wondering, like, how did it feel going from registered nurse to then telling people, okay, I'm not a registered nurse anymore, and now I'm a life coach? Like, how was that jump for you?
Oh my gosh, it's still going on. It's not easy because it's the job where, you know, my parents were so proud of me, like being in a top hospital, like we're the top psychiatric hospital, like one of the top in the nation, the top in the West Coast. It's all these accolades, and my parents were so proud of me, all these things. So when I left, especially, I'll never forget my last day. It's like everyone said on my last day, it wasn't so much encouragement. It was just like, nursing will always be here. Nursing will always be here. And to this day, my mom still tells me that nursing's still available. So you get that a lot. So, and which isn't their fault. It's just this collective idea of where security comes from and things like that.
Yeah. So did life coaching, like your own personal life coaching, help you get over the hump of, okay, now I really want to leave this? And because I find a lot of women, especially when you've gone through the education part where you've like gone above and beyond to reach this place, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't think I want to do this. A lot of women don't leave because it's like, well, I worked so hard for this and I got this degree and, you know, I shouldn't leave because I did all these things. Did you struggle with that? And was life coaching part of how you were able to finally say, I don't want to do nursing anymore?
Oh, absolutely. If I wasn't a life coach, I mean, I don't think I would have ever left. Like if I didn't know the tools that you teach in the podcast about even knowing that you have a choice of what you think Because before
Right.
life coaching, I was really at the mercy of my circumstances. Like I always blamed the work for making me stressed. I always blamed the patients, the family members for making me feel bad.
Yeah.
And if I didn't take ownership of my thoughts and my emotions, then I definitely wouldn't have left. Or I felt like if I left the job, then I'd feel better. But at one point, I was a personal trainer before being a coach, and I realized when I became a personal trainer, I still didn't feel better. So I knew that it wasn't the job.
It wasn't that, yeah.
So I had to learn how to manage my mind, which is why life coaching is seriously the secret sauce to the universe.
It really is. And it's so fascinating that we've never had this conversation. Charmaine and I have been in groups together and masterminds together, and we've seen each other ugly cry and do all the things. So there's that. But I find it so interesting because that's the same way I found life coaching. I had a coach, but the podcast, so you found the Life Coach School podcast, right? That's the one I found. And I was like, what is this? Right? So I find it so fascinating that, so many people just stay, even though they're miserable. And so many people are in this place of like, it's so easy to blame everything outside of us. And you were able to, through your own work, say, okay, wait, it's not the circumstance. It's not the job that's making me miserable. It's not the patients. It's literally the thoughts that I'm having about all of these things. So what would you say was your biggest struggle when you were like Googling? You said you were Googling self-doubt. I probably did something similar. What would you say was like the biggest aha moment for you once you found coaching and then you were like, oh, wait a minute, it's this, not this?
Right. Because I did look up, because I had self-doubt because when I was a personal trainer, I was training clients, but I still felt miserable inside. So I was confused. I was like, why the heck do I still feel bad, even though I'm not doing my nursing job, which I thought was the reason why I was feeling bad. I was like, why is this insecurity and self-doubt here? Because when I was helping my personal training clients, I felt so like I was always fearful of injuring them. I always felt like their results weren't good enough. So I kept feeling bad. And so I just Googled something like how to stop self-doubt or something about imposter syndrome or something like that. Yeah. And then I just saw the Life Coach School episode, like episode number 22. And I listened to it like freaking must have been 100 times minimum. I kept listening to it. And it's like for the first time, like Brooke was saying something about how, self-doubt was just part of the journey. Like she's the only person out of all the podcasts I listened to where they said self-doubt is normal. It's part of the journey. Yeah. And it really resonated with me because I was like, oh, this isn't a bad thing. And just kind of like, oh, okay. So it helped me to see there's something here that I'm missing.
Yeah. Yeah. And so you did the work, got certified as a life and weight coach, and then said, hey, I'm a life weight coach now. I can help you. What is the struggle? I know that's like the abbreviated version of how it went, but what's the biggest struggle that your clients come to you with? What is it that they're like, I need help with this 9 times out of 10?
So I help women entrepreneurs and they want to lose weight. They mostly come to me because they've gained weight. They don't feel good in their bodies. They don't feel comfortable or confident in themselves. Their eating habits, it's mostly emotional eating that they struggle with. Like they eat, usually, especially for women entrepreneurs or women who are really ambitious, they want to eat to numb their feelings. They don't want to feel stressed or overwhelmed, or they eat especially a lot to treat themselves or reward themselves at the end of the day. And then they're like, why the heck? Then they wake up one day and they're like, oh my gosh, like I could feel my stomach on my lap, like that sort of thing. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's what they come to me for, and they want to know how to stop depending on food for comfort or relief. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sitting here shaking my head like, yep, emotional eating, yep, treat myself.
Oh, all of us. If you're human, you've eaten emotionally,
right?
For sure.
Yeah. So what is it that you do, and you don't have to give like all your modalities, but what is the one thing for your clients that you notice has the biggest impact? What's the one thing that they come to you and that they learn that they're like, oh, I didn't know this before? And it's kind of like the secret sauce, like you said.
Right. So the thing that makes, I feel like, my approach different is at first, when I was like a personal trainer and stuff, I was focusing a lot on just like the weight. I was focusing on like, here's the foods to eat. This makes the weight go down. And I'd help clients that way. And then they'd lose weight, but then they'd gain it back. And it was because at the end of the day, what they thought of themselves didn't change. So I sort of started to pivot. It's kind of like now I really focus on what's your self-concept? Like, how do you actually perceive yourself as a woman? Because weight loss at the end of the day, it's really just a byproduct of your relationship with yourself. Yeah. Or weight loss or weight gain. And if you're thinking of yourself as a queen, you know, like, or a powerful woman, or like a dangerous woman, if you think of yourself as a dangerous woman, you're like, I eat fucking high quality food. Like I'm worthy of like quality meals, and I take the time. Like I see you, Crystal, like working out all the time with all the things. So it's just because you have this, you treat your body with respect. So it's kind of like, what is your opinion of yourself? How do you change how you really think about yourself as a woman? Yeah. To make the changes like permanent.
And that's so powerful. I think, Charmaine, for me, I had this revelation literally like 2 or 3 months ago where I was just asking myself, you know, do I really love my body? And the answer is like, I've always found something wrong. Oh, this is not right. Like always. And I was like, I don't think I've ever really loved my body. And then it occurred to me, like, when you don't love something and you don't cherish and treasure it, of course you don't treat it well. Of course you don't feed it high quality foods and do these things. And so I started to reflect. I was like, well, no wonder I'm always like falling off and getting back and starting over. It's like, I don't love and appreciate my body. And then I had to remember, like, I've had 2 kids. I'm almost 45 years old. Like, my body has done a lot. It has carried me through. And that was like a light bulb for me. Exactly what you're saying is like the self-concept of not only this is the type of woman I am, but I really love myself, all the parts of me, the cellulite and the C-section scars and all the stuff. Like, I get to love that and still want to improve on it every day. Just like I do my mindset, right? I love all the crazy that I got going on.
Right.
Right. But it doesn't mean I'm not going to work on it. Right. And it's kind of the work that we do. So I love that you help women with that, because I think the diet culture, particularly in the United States, just worldwide, is so toxic at times. Like, I'm interested in what you look at from your lens, being that you see this every day with your clients. You see the struggle and they're bombarded with all of this stuff on social media. Like, what is it that frustrates you about the diet culture?
So that's a big question, but I think the biggest thing, because I've had my own experiences with diet culture, like especially in high school, even though I was not necessarily overweight all my life, I still had body image issues when I was in high school. Like, even though I was 100 pounds, if I was like 100.1 pounds, I'd like starve myself all day, or I'd use like Lent to fast for 40 days. Anyway, but basically the thing that I think frustrates me most about diet culture is that it makes the person dieting believe that they can't trust themselves with their food choices. Like, they're not the authority over their body. Like, they need to look to something external outside of them to tell them what to do, to tell them what's right or wrong. Because a lot of my clients who come to me, because I've had some clients who are like in their 60s and they've had a lot of years of dieting, and they just have no trust with themselves. Like, they actually freak out when I don't give them a meal plan, because they're like, please give me a meal plan.
Right.
Because they don't trust themselves to make decisions for themselves. And so it's really hard for them to just gain self-trust. And if you don't have self-trust, there's no way you could it's a lot harder to accomplish things if you don't even believe in yourself to carry through on something, or you don't trust your decisions. So that's one of my biggest
I mean, and how do you combat that? Because there's so much information. Like, one of my favorite pastimes is scrolling TikTok. And apparently I end up on like food TikTok, dog TikTok, and diet culture
great.
TikTok.
Except mine is cats. I have 2 cats, but yeah, cat TikToks, food, cooking, yes.
Same thing. So it's like it's almost like there's so many mixed messages, and not so much of the quick fixes anymore, but like you said, it's just like this mixed message, or you can't eat that, or you shouldn't eat that, and there's a vilification almost of certain things. What are your thoughts? Like when your clients come in, how do you break them of just, it's almost like you don't know what's right and what's wrong, and how do you break them out of like looking at all the other stuff and being confused?
Right. So I do go through a process. Like in my group coaching program, we do have like 3-month process, and every month has a certain phase. So in the beginning, though, I do make recommendations on what to eat, just because one of my biggest things that I emphasize for women is like you want to befriend your body, like be friends with your body, like actually be comfortable with your body, have a relationship with it. That's like one of the biggest pillars in my program. But before you could have a relationship with it, like when I say relationship, it basically means like you actually know how to listen to your body, and you know when you're hungry and when you're not hungry. But that's actually a really hard skill for a lot of people, because partially because of, mindset and thought work, but also because physiologically there are some blocks there. Like hormonally, if you are eating certain foods that make you hungrier, it will be harder to actually listen to those hunger cues since your hormones are off. So in the beginning, I do recommend that women do like reduce the sugar they eat, or the starchy foods or the flours for at least a month. Like it's not a permanent thing, but I do call it like a reset, just so they could start to get acquainted with their hunger signals a little bit more. And then after that month, then we start to do the emotional work. Like then we actually start to, like I teach a lot of mindfulness and meditation, like just doing a lot of body scans, like every single day, just like listening, like just closing your eyes and just noticing the sensations in your body, and just being comfortable with them. Just being comfortable with being in a body. And when you're comfortable with that, then you'll know like what actually hunger feels like to you, what fullness feels like to you. And then we do the thought work, and then how to think about yourself and things like that.
Yeah, I love that you do that.
But that's how you build self-trust. But yeah.
Yeah, because I just don't see a lot of that, Charmaine. I don't see a lot, like you're putting all of the components together, and I think like that's the way to success. And it's not these quick fixes that people would like it to be. Not if you want it to last, like be a permanent change. When your clients are struggling or they have a setback, right? Like I ate something that I shouldn't have eaten, or, I kind of fell off. Like, how do you bring them back around? Because there's a lot of, we kind of beat ourselves up when we feel like we've messed up, right? So what is your stance on messing up and cheat days and all of those things that are part of diet culture?
Oh man, I could go on a whole soapbox on the cheat day thing.
Go ahead and get on your soapbox.
But basically, the first thing I really want to say is, like, if you could really see the food decisions you make, like if you could really just see them all as decisions and choices you're making, and not, like, I know it's easier said than done, but if you could really see how you eat as not right or wrong, but just seeing that you're making choices, like you're making decisions, and decisions have outcomes. And when you make a decision, you also have to accept the outcome that comes with it and take ownership of that. And that's okay. Like it's really being in a place of like, supporting all the decisions you're making, and really accepting first of all, like accepting reality, accepting that you can't change what happened. And then also kindness, like, which is so hard. I feel like this is the hardest thing for ambitious women. Like kindness is like, we don't do kindness. Like we're great at beating ourselves up, because beating ourselves up for some reason, I don't know, we think it gives us rewards, but it really doesn't. It's just like, it perpetuates more overeating, but basically it's like, can I just can I just treat myself with kindness? Like, I tell people if they overeat and it was like not planned, like to do something kind for themselves, like literally like allow yourself to watch something on YouTube or go on a walk or take a bath, like something to treat yourself. So you get out of the cycle of judgment and just be kind first. And then after you're kind to yourself, then you could learn and investigate from it.
Yeah, I've never heard. I hope you guys got to take notes on this, because you just said a lot there, and I'm like, I love how you put that it's a decision. It's not I ate bad, I ate good. It's a decision, and the decision is going to have an outcome, and you have to be okay with that outcome. But I've never heard anybody say to be kind to yourself and like go take a walk or watch TV or do something kind after you feel like you've messed up. And I think that is so powerful. Now I'm like thinking about all the times where I feel like I ate bad, and then I'm like, well, I gotta like spend extra time on a treadmill, or I gotta make sure like I'm extra care. Like never has it occurred to me as a coach that I should be kind to myself.
Right, like it's so counterintuitive. It's like treat yourself after you mess up, like like be like, because that's the moment where we want to be the hardest on ourselves. So what if we interrupt that and just use as an opportunity to just be kind and just really be like gentle with ourselves and just like nurture ourselves instead of the
opposite. Right, that's so good, Charmaine. Man, that's good. I am going to go back and listen to this and take notes myself. Okay, so is there something that, like, if you could wave a magic wand and change something about the industry, what would it be? What's the one thing you're like, let's just get rid of this. Let's not even go back and forth. Let's just be done with this.
I think, just because of my experience being a personal trainer, also, like, just everything about weight loss, like, none of it is ever about, like, your thinking or your relationship with yourself. Like, none of it's always just so external. It's also externally driven. Like, it's just like, what is my weight, my looks, my body fat percentage? Like, it's so external. And it's like, when we start getting the conversation out of external results, like stop spinning in the cycle of external validation, because the more you depend on external things to make you happy, that's when you're still going to be a slave to the scale. Like you're still going to be at the mercy of your body fat percentage. Like you have to start learning how to validate yourself and love yourself internally, because if not, you're always going to chase that result and you'll only be happy when the result comes, and you'll always suffer when the result's not there. So you need to learn how to really create sufficiency and love what you have now. Like, even though I know it's hard, it's like, it's not good enough, but really changing that dialogue, because that it's not good enough is making you chase external things, which is making you never going to be happy, like long-term.
Yeah. That's powerful. Man, girl, we should have had this conversation a long time ago. My goodness. Okay. Do you have a favorite client success story that you're always like, oh, I think about it all the time and it makes you super proud? I know you're proud of all your clients, but is there one success story that like stands out to you?
Yeah, like I am like immediately thought of one of my clients. And I remember her so much because before we started working together, she said on our sales call, like, she's like, I'm all in, but the only thing that's blocking me is, what if I fail? Because that's one of the biggest objections I get. It's just like, I've already tried weight loss. What if I fail? And when she told me that, it was like the first time I said on a sales call, I was just like straight up with her. I was just like, is that what you want to believe about yourself? Like, really? Like, you want to believe that you'll fail? Like, seriously? And she just was like, oh, no, I don't want to believe that about myself. Yeah. And so during the program, she really did the work to just change her relationship with herself. So by the end of the 3 months, she was, she did, she had the external results. Like she did lose like 25 pounds. She got 5 inches off her waist. Like she did amazing work. But the thing that made that happen was she just was able to love herself more and just have this relationship with herself where she had her own back without food. Like she was just able to support herself without food. And she believed in herself enough to get there. So I just love it when, I don't know, with the work that I do, I just want to help women see that, yes, you can achieve your goals. Like you can do things that you never thought you could do. Like practice betting on yourself that you could do something. Because that's the most powerful thing, even more than the weight loss.
Yeah. Yeah. And you're a true testament to that, like betting on yourself. I've seen you do that, like bet on yourself in different ways, and it pays off. And I love that you are an example of that and you teach that to your clients. So that's amazing. That is amazing. So what's one thing you could share with our international community of dangerous women? What's one thing that they could do or change, or something that will make them feel better today about their body, about their weight? What's one thing you suggest, or a tip that you have?
Well, I think just the biggest thing, like one quick tip to help everyone is just basically, like there's so much going through my head. I'm trying to like pick one thing, but
you can pick more than one. We won't be mad if you give us more than one tip.
Right. I think the first thing to start off with is really just first, like, do an audit of what you think about yourself. Like, just sort of think of it's like one of my favorite questions from Brooke Castillo. She'd ask yourself, like, what do you think about yourself when you think about yourself? Yeah. So just think about what you think about yourself. And then I want you to just make a decision. Like, then decide how you want to think of yourself. Like, if you see that you think of yourself, like one of my favorite questions. Go with it. My other video went off. Another perspective of me. But anyway, it's basically like a question I ask a lot of the time is, do you think of yourself as a Ferrari or a Corolla? And so if you're thinking of yourself kind of like a beat up Corolla right now, what if you could decide that you're a Ferrari? Like, what would change? Like, how do you show up for yourself? Like, decide to be the Ferrari and just see what changes. Just do an experiment and see how that might go for you.
I love that. Decide to be a Ferrari.
Yes.
I am a Ferrari. Okay. I like that. Okay. So one last question. Has really nothing to do with coaching, but I like to throw in these questions. So, what's one thing that you are certain of?
Oh, that's a good question. What's one thing I'm certain of? I am certain of just like myself, which I think is the biggest thing, because with coaching, it really helped me see that I was always seeking validation outside myself, which I'm sure you and your clients can relate with a lot. Like, we always want to depend on something external to give us validation, tell us we're good enough. But I think I really am just certain of myself and my ability to trust myself and achieve my goals. I have that certainty that never was there before, just internally, even if the results aren't showing yet. And anyone can create that just based on your relationship with yourself. But yeah, like.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, so how can we find you, follow you? Charmaine, if you're not following Charmaine on Instagram, she does the best reels. You're hilarious. She's a great actress.
Thank you. I've been practicing a lot.
So tell everybody how they can follow you, find you, work with you, all of the things.
So you can find me on my Instagram. It is my name, Charmaine, Charmaine, Platon, Platon. And also, I'm sort of redoing my website, but my website right now is sugarfreeselfcare.com. And you can find me there.
Yes. And you have group programs, or are you still doing one-on-ones, or do you work just with the groups?
Right. I'm just focusing on groups right now.
Okay.
So I have my 3-month Purposeful Eating, Powerful Living program. So it's a group coaching program. It's very intimate and high touch. I really give you attention to help you with your emotional eating and what's in the way of achieving your wellness and weight loss goals. And we focus a lot on being friends with your body, like the mindfulness, the meditation, being in that relationship with your body. And yeah, it's 3 months, and it's amazing.
I know it's amazing. I mean, so basically, all of the goodness you gave us over the last 30 minutes, and that's what you work on for 3 months. It's the mental. You're not giving people meal plans and telling them best of luck. Like it's high touch, and you are you are invested in coaching them to have just a better relationship with their body and with food.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And also you become the authority of your body. Like you start to have a relationship with yourself where you can trust yourself to make the best decisions for your food. Like I'm not here to tell you what to eat.
Yeah.
Like you're the one who could trust yourself.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much. All of the information, you spelled it out beautifully. All of it we're going to put in the show notes, and would love for everybody to just follow Charmaine. And she's got amazing group. She's an amazing coach. I know that firsthand. And now I'm like going to go back and take notes about the decisions I make about food.
Yes.
But thank you so much. I appreciate you. And we're definitely going to talk again.
Thank you so much, Crystal. I'm so honored to be here. I love your podcast, and it's amazing.
Thank you. If you found today's episode helpful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and subscribe to this channel so you never miss an episode. And I'd really love to hear how you're doing. You can find me at Dr. Crystal Connor on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I can't wait to hear what progress you've made. So until next week, see ya.